Today's podcast is brought to you by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. When it comes to home and auto insurance, it's important to have the right coverage from a company and an agent you can trust. Someone who will help you properly protect the people and things you love most. So if the unexpected happens, you and your family can rest insured. To request a free quote, find your local KFB insurance agent at mykfbagent.com. Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
It's going well. I'm really excited about today's guest. Our farm market program is really awesome. So it's neat to get to talk to one of the members. So
yeah, second kind of generation that I've met of this particular one. I think they're on their third for the farm, and we'll hear all about it. But Cathy's great. I think the listeners are really going to enjoy this one.
Yeah, definitely. I went to this market when I went to Western. So I've been a customer through the years. So I'm excited to get to talk to her.
All right, so without further ado, I'm Renee Carrico.
And I'm Matt Hilton.
And this is Between the Rows. All right, how's everybody doing?
I'm doing great.
Doing real good. It's a beautiful morning, and we're going to learn something about a farm market here today.
I know. I'm always excited. Cathy, thank you for joining us. That's one of my favorite things is on this podcast, getting to go find Fran in her office, which if you know Fran is a hard task, and get her to pin down which of our wonderful 160 markets we're going to try to highlight each time of the year. So we are so excited to talk about Jackson's today.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, tell us about your market. It's been around for a while, but tell us some of the different products y'all do and kind of some of the history.
Okay. Well, we are 3 generations now. My parents, Bill and Shirley Jackson, bought the farm in 1966. And we're predominantly an orchard. We grow mostly apples, peaches, some plums, and pumpkins are the crops that we do grow. And I think I said it, are 3 generations now. I've been back on the farm working with my parents for 34 years. I was an accounting major in college, so I do mostly the bookkeeping, the human resource side of it, and then store management. And then my nephew, who was a horticulture major from University of Kentucky, does most of the farming. My parents, who are both, one is 88 and one will be 88 in November. My father, still are very active in the business. They still live in the house independently, right here next to our farm market. And it's unbelievable. We're blessed that they have such good health and can still participate so much in the whole orchard and be good advisors for us, learning the business and how to do it. So yeah, that's a little bit about our farm market. Is right here, like I said, right next to the house. We sell probably 90% of everything we grow right here out of the open air market. Mm-hmm. We are very, very active in the Kentucky Farm to School program. So we work with 9 school districts that are in our surrounding area, supplying apples all fall. We deliver weekly to those schools, and that way the children get a fresh apple to eat each week in their lunches. And we've been introduced and trying to work pretty closely with the Feeding Kentucky program, and that's working pretty well for us.
Very cool.
Well, not to jump backwards, but I hope I look like your parents at 88. I mean, they are. We went to. I used to do most of our livestock work. Now I work in commodities overall with our whole team. And so I got to help when Fran had her last baby. I got to do the Minnesota trip. And that's the first time I got to meet your parents. And let me tell you something. They are on every wagon, walking every tour with any younger person in the group. So I don't know if that week is a week off from your parents or a week missing your parents. Either way, but we had a good time and they were right there with the mix of us. So kudos
Apple
to them.
A day keeps the doctor away.
That's exactly right. And there is nothing like those Farm Bureau roadside market tours that Fran does. My daughter and I were lucky enough to be able to go this March to Texas and learned so much and enjoyed it so much. And what you can learn from other markets when you just go visit and what you can bring back. And plus the camaraderie on the bus is unbelievable. I just, oh, well, we're doing this, well, we're doing that, and it just, you make all these lifelong friends and learn so much that you can also put into your market, to improve. And so it's a lot of fun. I know Fran puts a lot of energy into those trips, but we really appreciate it and love it. We try to go every year.
We talk about that all the time. Maybe one day I'll get over it, Matt, but it blows my mind that farm markets that can be literally miles apart are so open and share so much. It just shows that good rural roots in agriculture. We're not shy to tell people and try to help them away from a misstep we made. I mean, that bus, you're so right. People can be from the same county. They can be in the same area, the same type of operation. And they're just so open to share what's worked and what hasn't. I'm always amazed by that.
Yes, that's exactly right. Well, every year's a struggle, and every year has its own. You're blessed, and then you're cursed sometimes, and so you got to figure it out. And a lot of times, you just need advice for people who've lived through it. So, yeah, we love it, and we have such strong friendships with so many of the roadside market individuals.
Yeah. So, how many family members you guys have on the farm working now? Each fall and summer.
Well, I have two sisters, and both are retired from their full-time jobs. But once we get into September and October, and we start hosting festivals almost every weekend, they're out here every Saturday and Sunday. If I've got a big Friday where I have 1,500 kids coming on a school tour, they come out and help on those days. So both of my sisters are very active still, and I couldn't do it without their help. And then I have a daughter who is in college, and she works pretty much full time out here. And then we have just cousins and nieces and nephews who will come in, and they just have fun working for a weekend. They'll just say, hey, put me down for this weekend. And so they come and work. And we appreciate all that. There's nothing like family to help you get through all those busy times, because you just never know, how you need that extra help on some weekends, I should say.
Right.
So we can have up to 10 to 15 family members on an October weekend helping out.
Excellent. So it's pretty fun having all that family around.
Yes, we don't see each other much. We're all working, but yes, it is nice. It's very nice.
Yeah, they're right there, but don't get to quite hang out as much as you want. But
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So how have things been going at the market this year from a business perspective? You guys having a good year? How's it going so far?
Well, you remember how I said some years are blessed and some years are cursed. So started out in March, and April made it through all those late freezes, had a full crop of peaches, had a full crop of apples. Everything was looking perfect, just perfect. And then in May, all those crazy storms started popping up in the afternoon. And then one afternoon at 5 o'clock, as soon as we were getting ready to close for the day, it opened up and hailed for 10 minutes on us. And it was a hailstorm that left an everlasting impression on all of us, because all of that tiny fruit on the trees was nicked and scarred and beaten to death. And so that was tough. That was 2 tough days following that hailstorm. We had gone from a high of thinking, okay, because last year we lost our entire peach crop. So then here we turn around and think, okay, this year we're going to have a peach crop. And then we had that hailstorm. Our peaches have healed and fared better. And I'll tell you, the public has been very understanding. If it's just one little nick, peaches kind of healed themselves. It almost looks like a little scab. And so if there's 1 or 2 of those pecks on a peach, then we would still call that a number 1 and sell it as a number 1. And the public has really been understanding about that. The apples, however, they have not fared as well. I mean, they didn't heal, and it has caused rot and disease to get into our orchard more than usual. And they're just, so nicked up. It's just it's sad to drive through the orchard. But we do press our own apple cider, and generally we don't have enough cider apples, which those are the ones that you don't sell to the public that, just don't look very pretty. And so this year we have plenty of cider apples, and we've got some friends we were talking about in the orchard business who know the situation we're in, and they have extra apples. And so we will purchase our number one apples from them. And they're fantastic growers just right down the road from us, so fairly local. And we will pick our apples for cider and hopefully press a lot of cider this year. So started out great, but we have had a good summer. Like I said, we've sold our whole peach crop, and still picking a few peaches right now. I know this is airing in September, so we are not picking peaches in September. We are done with peaches. But yes, it's been a good season. We just having to figure out how to work this year with all the hail damage.
Well, when you talk about, the different hardships and things like that, you talked about the customer base being understanding. How important is that, having those local people that are regulars that you've kind of built that trust with? I would assume if people don't have that trust, if you were to go to maybe a big chain store or a Walmart and you see nicks on it, you expect better than that, you're worried of where the nick came from, but they see right where things were grown on your place. Do you feel like that's some of the trust y'all built over the years to where they know if y'all say it's okay, it's okay?
I would hope so, yes. And yes, we have a wonderful customer base, and we do appreciate Bowling Green and surrounding areas have really supported Jackson's Orchard and been faithful to. We're not exactly on the Scottsville Road, which is our main thoroughfare in Bowling Green, but they come out and they get their fruit, and we appreciate their loyalty to us.
Yeah, I mean, even vice versa. I mean, how important are these local markets to communities? Do you think that all these roadside markets are important to their community, and how so?
Oh, absolutely. I think that it's nice for families to get out and see where their fruits and vegetables are grown and know the local farmer. And so many of these roadside markets offer so much family participation. Like we will do a U-pick on the apples during the fall, and you pick pumpkins, and it's just good for kids to get out and see all that. And we also do school tours where they go out, they get to pick their own apple, pick their own pumpkin, run through the 5-acre cornfield maze. So it just gets them out of the city and gets them out on a farm just to see, apples grow on trees. Yeah. So, yes, I think they're just vital for communities. And I think any community who has a roadside market is very fortunate.
So you talked about working so much with the school systems. It's pretty unique, and being in an area as large as Warren County, that's very unique to be able to kind of get your apples in there and do it so regularly like y'all are able to do. How did that relationship start? How did y'all build that? Did they reach out to you first? I'm just kind of curious to give some of the other listeners ideas in their areas, because this is a need many, many places, especially right now. There's so many federal grants out there that some of these school systems can jump in on to help fund it, but a lot of times they don't know how to make the connection with the farmers. So help us understand kind of how you guys got into it.
Well, it all started with the Kentucky Department of Ag. And I don't know that we were one of the first to be contacted, but Tina Garland, which I think is still with the Kentucky Department of Ag, there is a farm to school department, and they will give emails, phone numbers of every food director and a phone number in every county, in every school system in the state of Kentucky. So then you have to decide, reach out. And what I do, or when we first started, my father, Mr. Jackson, actually called every food director that we wanted to try to sell to, introduced himself and said, hey, we've got apples. Here's this farm to school program. And at the same time, Tina Garland or some of her staff was reaching out to them, giving them the incentive to buy local produce versus Washington State apples. And, I would be afraid to tell you what their incentive is, but it used to be they got like 50%. If I charged $40 for a bushel box of apples, they were reimbursed 50% of that by the Kentucky Department of Ag. So the school district. Am I being clear on that? I think I am.
Yes, ma'am. That's incredible.
And so they are incentive. There's got to be an incentive for them to buy it because obviously I can't compete with Washington State's prices. The difference is I'm giving them an apple that was harvested within a week or two of them putting it in the hands of their children, so it's crisp and juicy. And when they're buying the cheap apples from Washington State, it's a Red Delicious that has been in cold storage for up to 6 months. And when you bite it, it's kind of mushy. Mm-hmm. You've gotten those at the convenience store or at a hotel down in the lobby, when they give you an apple and it just has no flavor and you're like, oh, that was disappointing. So this is the difference. And this makes a child think, oh, I like apples because they're crisp, they're juicy, and they're getting a good apple that is fresh versus one that's been in cold storage quite some time. So we started with phone calls and start with one or two districts or school. Don't overextend yourself because it ends up being quite a they'll start buying once they get into it and they see how the children are enjoying the fruit. They will start purchasing quite a bit. So you don't want to over promise. If I don't know how much the roadside market is growing, but if they only have a certain limited number, then they can't over promise and say we can do 5 to 10 school districts if they don't have that much produce to sell them.
Right.
Because that'll turn them off. If they place an order and then I'm continuing saying, I'm sorry, I don't have that. I'm sorry, I don't have it. Then they're going to get frustrated and give up on it. So start small, start with 1 district or 2 districts, and then increase it as your volume increases. But now I just send out an email every Wednesday, and it's got a spec sheet and an availability sheet. It lists what variety of apples we're picking, the count, how much it is a bushel. Then I tell them at the bottom of the spec sheet, it says, on Monday I'm delivering to these counties, Tuesdays these counties, Wednesday these counties. And then I do put a 6-case minimum per delivery location. And it's important to do that as well because then they'll be going, well, that school wanted 1 box and that school wanted 1 box. Well, the price of gas, you can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
And they can order enough and keep it in their coolers. And then by Friday, they email me their orders. And then that following week, we're good to go. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're delivering to all the counties. And I send the email on Wednesday. On Friday, I get the orders. And here we go again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
It's so interesting. You talk about that. We talk about that with our dairy folks all the time. We wonder why kids don't want to drink milk. We wonder why kids don't want to eat apples. If their first taste is not what it needs to taste like, then it's not going to produce those healthy habits of eating those kinds of foods. So
That's right.
We laugh about the same thing. Lukewarm skim milk is probably not the way to sell a kid on drinking milk the rest of their life. And I'd say a mushy apple is probably not the best way to get them sold on an apple. So,
Amen. Well, lukewarm skim milk. Now that even turns me off. Yeah.
Tell me, why do you love farming? You said you came back to the farm 30 plus years ago. What brought you back, and what do you love about farming, about your market? What just gets you up every morning to keep working?
The people. I work with just incredible people, and I just love being outside. I love what we do. I take a lot of pride in the fruit that we grow, and I don't know why I love it.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah, it's pride. I
Some
mean,
days I'm wondering because it will be when we are when this airs, we'll be working 7 days a week.
mm-hmm.
So from September 1st through October 31st, we work 60 days solid, never take a day off.
Wow.
And so my husband's sometimes like, what are you thinking? But I've done it for years. I've done it for 34 years, and it's just what we do. I know the light's at the end of the tunnel. By the time Thanksgiving comes, I get days off. So it's just such a blessing. I don't know. People smile when they're out here, and I feel like that we bless a lot of families, and they bless us by coming and enjoying our products and appreciating what we do.
So talk about, you're part of the Certified Farm Market Program. I've been a part of it the whole time, correct? I think, yeah. So talk about the program and how's it been a benefit to your operation?
The Kentucky Farm Bureau roadside market?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that a little bit already. The friendships that we've made through that, going for a week on a bus with people, there's no better way to get to know somebody than be on a bus for a week with them. But that has just been tremendous. But the idea is that Fran always takes us someplace different. And I thought when it was Texas, I was like, what in the world are we going to see in Texas? I'm not going to learn anything in Texas. But I wanted to go, so I was like, okay, fine. Well, you wouldn't believe the pictures. I guess I came back with 150 pictures, and I bet I have implemented at least 20 ideas from that trip from Texas.
Wow.
So incredible markets down there, so diverse. Just everybody's doing something a little bit different, which is just fun. We all have our own way of doing things, and there isn't one right way to do it. It's whatever works for you and your personality and your family's personality. What works best for you, that's what you need to do. And at the end of the day, you got to make a profit. You know, that's why we're here to, we're running this roadside market. So the knowledge, one of the, I'm not going to name names, but one of the markets just called me the Saturday night after I got home and said, what are you pricing your apples at this year, Cathy? And so we talk about pricing, where we are, and they're thinking about doing it a certain way this year that we've never done before. And I was like, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Let me think about that, and I'll be back with you on that. So constantly sharing ideas, and prices, and here's what we're doing. This is what we're doing. And, if we think it fits for our market, then let's implement it. If it doesn't, that's okay. It works for them, may not work for us. So, yeah, I can't say enough. The roadside market's a great support system. They do a lot of classes. They are informational. They give us, I think this past January, I went to one actually at Kentucky Farm Bureau office in Louisville, and it was on the legacy of your farm and passing it on from generation to generation, because I don't know how many people have seen it happen, but once the owners or the original pass, then a lot of times that farm is sold off and it's subdivided, and the siblings just want the money, and it's sad. And we have seen that happen in several orchards. And so it was very informational. It affirmed that what we're doing here and what we've done for the past 58 years is the legacy of it is worth keeping. And so we got to get it right, when my parents do pass, and know how we're going to continue this on.
Yeah,
it was a great meeting.
She does a great job. I don't know if we sing Fran's praises enough. She covers the state left, right, and sideways, getting to you guys, and that meeting I think is an encompassing way of the feedback she gets from the markets throughout the year, and what's one of the big tones, and that was one of them last year, and she was able to put together a really good opportunity for you guys to have a facilitated discussion. We got kind of an expert in the room, and I thought that was really helpful. Some people dove into very specifics, and some people kept it broad, and I thought it was helpful all around.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and 2 years ago, it was awesome. She had a gentleman from Chick-fil-A who manages one of the Chick-fil-A's there in Louisville, maybe 3 stores. Mm-hmm. And it was completely on how to hire and quality of hiring. And all of us know when we go through Chick-fil-A, you get great service. And I've always thought to myself, how do they always hire such great people? Oh, my goodness. The wealth of information came out of that. I learned so much at that meeting. And that gentleman was only supposed to be on there for like 45 minutes. And there were so many questions that 2 hours later we had to cut him off because our lunch was getting cold.
Mm-hmm. And see, it's pieces like that when people say there's a membership fee, I go, oh my gosh, your membership fee is paid for with one Facebook promotion and one speaker that shows up to a meeting. I mean, I think it's paid for quickly. I do want to go back. I have one question for you, and this is just me personally. I'm just curious. Going to Texas, I find it interesting when it's people that are a crop that's not in the state maybe as prevalent that you're going to tour. So I'm sure you didn't see a lot of apples. What do you feel like you brought home? Was it agri-tainment? Was it marketing strategies? Was it signage? What kind of things did you feel like you found there? Because I'm sure Minnesota was probably more of an apple kind of trip than maybe Texas would have been. So I'm just curious.
Well, yes, and you're exactly right. Because Mom and Dad came back from that Minnesota, and they were the apple orchards were beautiful, and they got to see the nursery where they're growing. Yes, that was not what this trip was about, but it was exactly what you were talking about, the signage. One place we went, all I could, even though it was our first time there, they had such fantastic signage that it was no question where I needed to go to do anything, and I was like, we don't do that well. We're going to do better on our signage.
Right.
Then the agri-tainment, yes, that's what I came back because we have a big playground and it's been kind of the same for 2 years. And I really was struggling with what can I put in there? Well, I came back with the cutest ideas, and they're original, and they're things that they're not going to find in any of our local parks. They're farm activities, and it's so cute. And so I was real excited about that. And packaging, I learned a lot about packaging and also like displaying in the store. Mm-hmm. How certain things, we took a lot of pictures of displays and would be like, oh, we should do more of this because that shows off better than how we've been doing it. And, things like that. I know it doesn't sound like that much, but it is, little stuff, baby steps. Every year, baby steps. Just take a few and just try to improve a little bit.
Yeah. So, Cathy, tell us, do you got any cool events coming up? Late September, October? Do you got anything coming to Jackson's Orchard?
Yes, we start our Pumpkin Festival, which our first one was in 1991.
Wow.
Was the first Pumpkin Festival. We did it for one weekend. And since then, it's grown to 5 weekends. We hosted the last weekend of September, Saturdays 9 to 5, Sundays 1 to 5. Last weekend of September and every weekend in October. And that's where we do the hay rides back to the pumpkin patch where they can pick their own pumpkins. There's a corn maze for them to run and play in. You Pick Apples are going on at that time. We have a petting zoo, pony rides, playground. We have the Groovy Gus donut truck that's selling donuts with our pumpkin butter and our apple butter.
Okay.
We have our concession stand, the farm market open. We have face painting, moonwalk. kids crafts going on, just lots of activities and it's a lot of fun.
Excellent.
Come out and see us.
Yeah, and so like, where else can we find some of your products? And more information on that festival? Is that on a Facebook page? Where can we find that info?
We do have a very active Facebook page. If you would need to know anything, if you'll follow us at Jackson's Orchard, I guess it's jacksonsorchard.com. I don't know. That's our website. You can tell I don't do the social media, but however you do Facebook, it's at Jackson's Orchard.
Excellent.
And we do post daily, what we're picking, what's in the store, what activities are going on, any special activities. If there's any thing that the public needs to know, it will be put on there. Sometimes on Sunday afternoons, we get so backed up on our hayride sales that by 3:00 we stop selling tickets. That will be blasted on Facebook if that happens. So don't come out that afternoon thinking you're going to get a ticket, if we've just posted that on social media. And then we also have a website at jacksonsorchard.com that we try to list most everything. But our current almost daily posts are on Facebook and Instagram.
Very good. Very good.
Well, Cathy, I cannot thank you enough. I know it is, there is never a not busy time of year, but this is definitely not a slow one. So I know you maybe got a little bit voluntold to jump in on this one, but we can't tell you how much we appreciate it. And I've had fun. It's been great learning more about your all's operation.
Well, thank you so much for asking us, and come and see us sometime when you're in Bowling Green.
Well, it sounds like we've got the 5 weekends we need to go.
I know. I think I was hearing donuts and pumpkin butter. I don't know what is it.
Is it the Farm Market 15? Is that what you gain when you start going to all these?
Real quick.
Well, you got to have a cider slush. That's our most popular thing, our apple cider slush.
That sounds like a plan there. That sounds great.
That's probably the most popular thing besides the caramel apple, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your time today.
All right. Thank you. You all have a nice day.
All right. And thank you, listeners. Please remember to subscribe to our larger podcast, Kentucky Farm Life, and we'll see you next time on Between the Rows.